You ever just look at the ocean and think about like all those incredible colors?
Oh, yeah.
Like those deep blues and greens, and then you see flashes of like coral and fish, and it just makes you think about all the crazy stuff going on under the surface.
Totally. Like what kind of hidden power is creating all that, right?
Exactly. And that brings us to something else that's super vibrant and powerful too.
Hmm.
Astaxanthin.
Astaxanthin.
It's often called the ocean's antioxidant.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
So,
Yeah, so it's the compound that makes things like salmon and shrimp and lobster, that reddish pink color.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
And it all starts with these tiny little microalgae
Ah,
called Hematococcus pluvialis.
Phenylcoccus pluvialis.
Wow.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. So our listeners have been giving us some really interesting stuff to think about lately.
Absolutely.
And astaxanthin has come up quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So today we're going to do a deep dive on this stuff.
Okay, it's all good. Really explore the research and try to figure out what's most important about it.
All right.
Especially what it might do for our health and maybe even if it's connected to like living longer.
Longevity.
Exactly.
Let's get into it.
We know you're busy and you want to get right to the good stuff.
Right to the point.
So let's jump right in.
Okay.
So there are a lot of antioxidants out there.
Oh, yeah, tons.
So what makes astaxanthin stand out?
Well, one of the most interesting things about astaxanthin is how its molecules are structured.
Oh, okay.
See, a lot of antioxidants are either water-soluble or fat-soluble.
Right.
So they mostly work in certain parts of the cell.
Makes sense.
But astaxanthin is different.
How so?
It can actually, embed itself right into the cell membrane.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's not just floating around, it's actually part of the cell's defenses.
Exactly like a built-in shield protecting the cell from damage.
That's a great way to put it.
And, this stability also probably means that it won't backfire on you.
Back.
Yeah, like some antioxidants can actually start contributing to oxidative stress over time.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Interesting.
But astaxanthin seems to be more reliable for the long haul.
So you're saying it might be better for long-term health?
Potentially, yeah.
Now, I remember reading that because it's fat soluble, it can build up in certain parts of the body,
Right.
important parts.
Yeah, exactly. It tends to concentrate in tissues with a lot of fat, like
Like it?
the brain.
The brain.
Yeah, eyes and the skin.
Oh, wow. So it kind of goes where it's needed most.
Oh, that's the idea.
Especially for things we worry about as we get older.
Absolutely. Aging and all that.
Makes sense. And the brain is mostly fat, right?
It is, yeah.
So that brings us to brain health.
Okay, yeah.
This was something you were really interested in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What makes astaxanthin's effect on the brain so important?
Well, you see, one of the big problems with getting things into the brain is the blood-brain barrier.
Right. It's like the brain's security system
Exactly. It's super picky at what it lets in.
to protect it.
To protect it, yeah.
But astaxanthin can get past it.
It can, which is amazing, really.
Wow.
Because that means it can deliver its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory powers right to the brain.
Directly to the source.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So it can get past security. Are there any downsides to that? Do we know?
That's a great question. And honestly, there needs to be more research on that specific aspect.
Okay.
Like what are the long-term implications of something crossing the blood-brain barrier?
Right. Like, could there be unintended consequences?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely something researchers are looking into.
Okay, well, hopefully they figure that out soon.
Me too.
So is there evidence that it actually helps the brain?
Well, there's some early studies that suggest it might be able to reduce inflammation in the brain,
Okay.
which is a big deal because inflammation is linked to a lot of neurodegenerative diseases.
Like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, exactly.
So it could potentially protect against that.
Well, that's the hope. There's also some research that suggests it might improve cognitive function.
Oh, wow. So like thinking and memory and stuff.
Yeah, things like that.
That's huge.
It is if it turns out to be true.
So have they done any studies on people yet?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the evidence we have right now is from animal studies,
Okay.
which have been pretty promising. They show that astaxanthin might slow down brain aging in animals.
That's still really cool.
It is, but we really need to see more human trials.
Tin permit.
Yeah, to see if it actually works the same way in people.
Okay, now let's talk about longevity.
Okay.
That's always a hot topic.
It is, yeah. Everyone wants to live longer.
Of course. So we've seen some people saying that astaxanthin can make you live longer.
Right, there have been some big claims out there.
What's the truth?
Well, it's tricky.
How?
So there's been talk about a study from 2024
Okay.
from the Interventions Testing Program, the ITP.
Right.
And some sources are saying it showed that male mice lived like 12% longer
Mm-hmm.
when they were given astaxanthin.
12%, that's a lot.
But here's the thing.
What?
There isn't a widely recognized study from the ITP that actually confirms that. Like, it hasn't been officially published or anything.
So that's more like a rumor?
Kind of, yeah. It's possible that it's based on early data that hasn't been fully vetted yet.
So the ITP, they're pretty reputable, right?
Oh, yeah, they're the gold standard for this kind of research.
So if they found something this big, they'd probably be shouting it from the rooftops.
They would, yeah. It would be all over their website and in all the scientific journals.
That's not.
Not yet, at least.
So maybe it's not as clear-cut as some people are making it out to be.
Exactly. We need to be cautious about these claims until we see some solid evidence.
Okay, so maybe it's not a fountain of youth.
Probably not.
But even if it doesn't make us live longer, it could still help us age healthier, right?
Exactly.
Like what were you saying about oxidative stress and inflammation?
Well, those are two of the biggest factors in aging and age-related diseases.
Right.
And we know that astaxanthin is really good at fighting both of those.
So it could help us stay healthier for longer, even if we don't actually live longer.
That's the idea.
Okay, now let's talk about the eyes and skin.
Okay.
You mentioned that astaxanthin builds up in fatty tissues,
Right.
and that includes the eyes.
It does.
So how does that help?
Well, it seems to protect against age-related macular degeneration, or AMD.
AMD.
Yeah, it's a major cause of vision loss as we get older.
And astaxanthin can help prevent that.
That's what the research suggests.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. And there's evidence that it might help with other eye problems, too.
Like what?
Well, you mentioned eye strain earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Some studies have shown that astaxanthin can improve blood flow to the eyes and reduce eye strain.
So it could help with all the screen time we're all doing these days.
It could. Yeah, that's one of the potential benefits.
I'm definitely interested in that.
I think a lot of people are.
What about the skin?
Well, astaxanthin can actually become part of the skin tissue.
Part of the tissue.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's not just like a cream you put on top, it's actually in your skin.
Exactly.
So how does that help?
Well, it acts like an internal sunscreen.
Internal sunscreen.
Yeah, protecting you from UV damage.
Wow. So you're getting protection from the inside out.
Pretty much.
That's amazing.
And there's also evidence that it can improve skin elasticity and reduce wrinkles.
So it's good for anti-aging too.
It seems to be, yeah.
So let's say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, I want to try this stuff.
Right.
What should they know?
Well, for general health, the recommended dose is usually around 2 to 4 milligrams per day.
Okay.
But some studies have used higher doses, up to 12 milligrams.
So it depends on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And you should always talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement.
Especially if you have any health conditions.
Exactly. Or if you're taking other medications.
Okay. And how should you take it?
It's best to take it with a meal that has some healthy fats in it.
Because it's fat soluble.
Right, that helps your body absorb it better.
Are there any side effects?
It's generally considered to be pretty safe,
Okay.
but some people might notice their skin getting a slightly pinkish tint.
Pinkish.
Yeah, but it's usually not a big deal.
Okay. Good to know.
And again, always check with your doctor first.
Always. So to wrap things up, what are the main takeaways about astaxanthin?
Well, it's a powerful antioxidant,
For sure.
and it seems to have some really impressive benefits for brain health,
Right.
eye health, and skin health.
It's kind of like a triple threat.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to its unique molecular structure.
Which allows it to do all those amazing things.
Exactly.
Now we're still waiting on more research to see if it really can make us live longer.
Right.
But even without that, it's still a pretty amazing compound.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because it can help us fight oxidative stress and inflammation.
Which are like the root causes of aging.
Exactly. So it can help us age healthier even if we don't necessarily live longer.
That's a pretty good trade-off if you ask me.
I agree. So it really makes you think about how we can use these natural compounds to improve our health,
Absolutely.
and maybe even change the way we think about aging.
Yeah, maybe instead of trying to stop aging altogether,
Right.
we should focus on aging gracefully.
And staying healthy for as long as possible.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has, yeah.
And it's definitely made me want to learn more about antioxidants.
Me too. There's so much more to discover.
Maybe our listeners feel the same way.
I hope so.
Well, that's all for today.
Thanks for having me.
It was great talking to you.
Likewise. Until next time. See ya.